You're watching SBA Today. With all the latest news, stories, and advice, here are your hosts, Paul Long and Tonya Mazurek.
And welcome to SBA Today for the week of December 16th. I am Paul.
And I am Tonya. And Paul, what in the heck is everybody talking about this week?
Not much.
Well,
I think
there you go.
I think everyone's trying to flush out their pipelines for the end of the regular year, and on this one, I did find a few little things on what I call the SBA Dark Web. There's always a dark web. Per Paul. Right.
Our resident geek, Paul, as he likes to call himself.
That is correct. Yep. And speaking of that geek, you know that I'm probably one of the only people that actually reads the Federal Register, because I'm always interested, because it always tells us so much about what's coming down the line. And I know you're thinking to yourself, okay, and well, SBA, they're going through a lot of forms, and they're trying to figure out if they want to continue with some of these forms. A lot in the 8A program. They're looking at the 912 because it's still there. Like, it hasn't been retired. We just don't really use it too much. What's the point of it? And then they're also looking at the new 1919. So there again, forms, I think, is something they're looking at to try to make the paperwork less. And we'll see how that goes. But
wouldn't that be nice, Paul?
The exciting times at the Federal Register.
Well, hey, I love the idea of making forms less. Come on, man. That'd be nice.
Yep, that is true.
Awesome. Well, and the next piece of info or news that we want to share with you guys is brought to you by Brett over at Lumos. And thank you, Brett, for this data.
Yep.
It's how small businesses decide where to apply for financing. And this is kind of an interesting one. I like this. I like me some data. So does Paul. So here we go. Okay. So how do small businesses choose where to apply for financing? The largest gaps in features influencing that decision are relationships and speed. Check it out. That's right. Relational strength. Banks with existing relationships hold an advantage. So that's the small businesses. If you look at that there, it says the small banks, I guess, are the ones that typically have those relationships with their clients that then translates into, I want to work with you because of the relationship I have with you. Operational speed. Online lenders and finance companies appeal to small business owners that prioritize the fast. Now, let's go to the different boxes here, though. As you see, with existing relationships with the lender, that's going to be the small banks. Makes sense. Paul, does it make sense for you?
Oh, 100%. I'm going to put credit unions under small banks.
Exactly. Well, of course, absolutely. You're under the small bank, and the large banks. I mean, they've just got so many customers. Oftentimes, the relationship piece kind of falls to the wayside, And then when it comes to the online lenders, it's very transactional. So there's not really typically a relationship built. Then the chance of being funded typically goes to the online lenders, and that makes total sense, right? They're kind of throwing it out there to see what sticks and with whom. Speed of decision or funding also is to the online. I mean, they definitely have their processes down of getting things in and out. Again, it's because it isn't relationship oriented. It's let's get you in and out with your money, right? I mean, that's how I see that.
Correct. Which a lot of small business owners like that and want that.
Yeah.
But is it going to cost more? I go back to the three circles: fast, cheap, and good.
Whatever you're talking about.
I don't remember.
I'm not even going to go there. I could totally go there. I'm not going to. Okay. Large banks for the interest rate. Well, that makes sense as well, right? They've got the funding, they've got the backing. They can certainly do that. Denied by other lenders is the online banks. Again, they get denied by somebody, and all of a sudden they just throw it to the wolves out there. It reminds me of sometimes, where they go in and they just put their name and what they're looking for out there, and then everybody just swarms on top of them.
Yep.
I did that with health insurance. let me just tell you guys, don't ever do that because I'm still getting freaking calls.
Oh, I'm sure.
Anyway, and no collateral requirement again is the online lenders. Now, I want to bring up something that's not in this, Paul, that you and I can kind of discuss. I mean, because those numbers all make sense just based on metrics, right? And based on what you figure out on who has actually done the deal. But I want to talk about referrals. Now, what about the referrals? Because what these charts are showing is who actually completes the deal and where the small businesses are going. But where were they prior, right? And like
It's true.
of my deals, and I'm sure you do as well, from other banks and from other lenders that maybe their credit box didn't fit with what that particular business was looking to do. Doesn't make it a bad business, just makes it not a fit for us. I mean, I've sent things out for the same exact reason. So what do you think? How do you think that potentially would change these numbers if we had any way to have a metric of that?
I actually don't think they would change.
Oh,
because here's why. Look at, like, for example, the no collateral requirement. You know, banks in institutions, even in SBA lending, collateral still sort of important, right? Like,
yes.
How far are you going to stretch that rule on the house? Okay. But look at that. 42% goes to the online lenders. The online lenders, their technology probably is the one that determines the loan dollar amount. I would assume this is definitely mainly for loans under 350,000. I'm going to assume.
Oh yeah. Got it.
But I think, you know, and I'm using myself an example, is if there's a deal that's kind of just really off the rocker, I'm going to refer it to it. Again, I know a lot of institutions and what they can and can't do, but I'll refer it over to them or an online lender that can do it and be okay with it. So I just don't think the numbers are going to change, but I think they're already in there is what I think.
Well, that's true. That's true because these numbers are where they actually went to. I guess my question is how many end up in a specific area that's already gone elsewhere, which I guess it's got the denied by other lender. And then oftentimes they go to the online. Yeah. I don't know. I think it just depends on the institutions because, I mean, I have become quite known at getting potentially deals from others that their credit boxes don't work to see if I can kind of get through it. But anyway.
Are you the garbage dump of SBA lending?
I am so not. I used to be. I certainly used to be. Okay. So
good.
My previous institution, right? I mean, we didn't have great for certain things, right? But people did become or think it became known because it was like the interest rate was what the interest rate was. But it did have a tendency to get some things done that were really challenging. But you know what? I come to find out, I think some of that has to do with me too, because I'm a tenacious little bugger. But anyway, no, we are not the garbage dump. We actually have some amazing people in the back end that do try to make things work. So I would say that versus the other.
Okay. I had to poke the bear. Hey, real quick, we had somebody mention, just had a comment about, you know, I've been reading up about online lenders. They have very high interest rates because they work off of a credit line from other banks. Is that a myth? The answer is no. That is actually correct. Online lenders have to get their money somewhere. So either they raise it themselves or they go out and they get warehouse lines is what they're called. Those warehouse lines. I mean, it's the cost of capital. So either you're going to pay it out in deposits or you're going to pay it through interest on a line. And generally speaking, a lot of those online lenders do have a warehouse line and kind of a mix of funding. And they do charge more because, well, first of all, they should charge more, to be honest, because they're taking on more risk. And if you take on more risk, it should be higher. And they have probably higher technology costs than, say, Tonya or I, because they're investing everything into the technology and not into people, which could be cheaper long-term. So your myth is correct.
Hey, good job. Well, and you know what? so going back to the relationship piece, I'm gonna take a step. So yesterday I was at the grand opening of one of my clients, and it was so exciting. It was so exciting. Is the Rough House, and Steve Schaefer of the Rough House opened or had the ribbon cutting yesterday for his new doggy daycare and boarding, which is down in Castle Rock, Colorado. Now, yes, I am relationship oriented, guys. So I was there, and it was so freaking exciting to see the smile on his face. It lit the place up, and we were outside, and it lit it up. The other really cool thing with it is Bill Briggs, the deputy administrator of the SBA, was there for the ribbon cutting. He came to just have well wishes for Steve. It's his first one too in his role, his first small business ribbon cutting. So it was pretty exciting. Not to mention, I think he was pretty excited to be here in Colorado with our warm weather when it's very cold in Washington, D.C. right now. But you know what's really neat is to see how we all work together. This is why we do what we do, people, right? It's seeing a customer get to the finish line after going through so much, because we put them through the ringer. We do, not purposely, not intentionally, but we are a government-backed program. So we've just got to get through all of the red tape on many things oftentimes. So to see him open was amazing. To have Bill Briggs show up and talk about how the SBA backs us to back them was amazing as well. And I just really wanted to kind of put a shout out there to both Steve Schaefer and the Rough House, as well as Bill Briggs, for showing up so kindly for our businesses and for small business in general. So thank you, SBA.
That's awesome. That's very cool.
Yeah.
That is definitely one of the nice things. And I think we all need to realize that, we're pushing on goals and everything we're doing, but at the end of the day, going to that ribbon cutting, going to the business, what the impact you're really actually making. And if you don't do that, you're a transactional lender, frankly, because
just like we were talking about. Yes,
yeah, exactly.
I'm assuming not too. This is the relationship piece, Paul. We show up for these things if we possibly can, if it's nearby to us. Now we are national, right? Or at least I'm national, so I don't obviously can't go to all if they're out of state. But yeah, I mean, we certainly try to do what we can do on the relational piece of it. So anyway.
Well, and that moves perfectly into our next one. Again, Lumos is doing their very good job this week. And this is kind of part 2, which is small business owner satisfaction with lender has declined. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun.
By
That's
actually quite a
good.
bit, which is interesting. Compared to 2019 to 2024, small banks, large banks, finance companies, and online lenders all are the tallest dwarf. That the small banks went from 74 to 62. Large banks about the same kind of difference. Finance companies 50% to 37%. Ooh, this one I had to double check. Online lenders 38% to 2. Wow, that was crazy. This is kind of a strong signal from small business owners in an environment of declining satisfaction. What can small business lenders create to make a better experience for the client? And I think what's really important is for every organization to walk through your process as a customer, right?
Yeah.
And that is always missed. And if you hear common trends, how to figure out something. When I talked to Ray many years ago, and I was on the Art of SBA Lending podcast, I talked to him about videos, and I got sick and tired about how to fill out a friggin' 413. So I created a video. Like, how do you help the customer move through the process? Yeah, I mean, how else can we improve this, Tonya? Like, I mean, we're always looking to be the best in customer service and everything. And none of us are perfect, but what do we do? What do we do?
Well,
you have all the answers.
Crazy. We were just talking about this morning on a call that we had here for our closing department and whatnot. And it's an interesting thing. Like in my mind, you can go through the process and it can be as damaging and painful and slow and whatever it is, but then you get to that closing table and oftentimes the switch can be, or the flip can be switched, the switch can be flipped. Anyway,
Yep.
you get there, and depending on how that closing process has gone is going to make or break the experience that that customer has.
Thank
We
you.
just were having this
100%.
conversation. And so oftentimes it doesn't, it's not even always about the people. We can be as nice as we are, but if the process is painful, then that's what they're going to be left with, right? But I think another piece of it too is communication.
Mm-hmm.
Communication, even when you don't have communication, sometimes is good, because I think so many don't reach out and let the borrowers know where we are in the process. And so the borrower's in this la la land or limbo, right? And limbo is a really not fun place to be in. So even if you don't have information as to where it's going, or you've got information that, hey, we're stuck right here, or we're working on this, or whatever it is, right? I think communication's a big one. What about you, Paul?
I would completely agree with that. And I think how you end the process is what they're going to remember. And I think you are 1,000% correct when you're saying that the closing is most important. And I think that also comes through with, the type of closing agents that you use help in that, because even though you've given them the loan documents and you're kind of done in the whole scheme of things, you're not really done until the money gets wired, right? And how was that experience? So I think that's an important piece as well. And I think people, if they have a good closing experience, they will totally forget about any oopsie boo-boos that happen through there. Like for example, one of the things, and I'll just call myself out on this, is one of the things I absolutely hate is when I have to go back to a borrower after closing and say,
oh, yes.
So I forgot a signature or an initial. I'm going to send it to you. Oh my God, I hate it. And I'll be honest with you, I had one person where we had to do it 3 times. And to this day, I still have that there. And I am just like, that's how they left the experience, was they couldn't get there together. And I'm like, no.
Well, but what you just said really means a lot in my book. I always take it to that next human, deeper level, right? You actually looked at the process and it affected you, right? So you created a lesson out of the process. So, it's the ones out there, I think, that they just keep doing the same thing over and over and over. They don't learn from the experience and change the process or change how that experience ends, perhaps. I think they're the ones that are the challenge. It's going to happen. There are going to be mistakes. There's going to be issues. It's inevitable. It's going to happen, right? But it's how you handle that issue, right? And what part you play in it and where you learn from it to move forward from that point on. I think that's the biggest lesson in all of this. So.
And it all comes back to training. It comes to sharing the story with everybody. The underwriter needed to hear that story because everything is connected within. And so,
so what you're saying is the left hand needs to know what the right hand's doing?
Yep, absolutely. And one thing I'm doing, and they don't even know that I'm going to give them this plug, but I think it's really important. And that is our friends at Shatterbox, which, by the way, we're always open to a great sponsor.
Shatterbox, come on.
I am making everybody on my team take training on everyone else's job. So my underwriter is going to learn is going to go through the processing part that they have. And so vice versa. Like, I know it's kind of like, well, why? Because if you know, then you make it a better experience for the customer because you know about every single thing on there. So,
no different than what I've talked about before is a loan officer on the front end, such as myself, like a BDO on the front end, also understanding how risk affects a bank and how liquidation goes down and what happens to the customer and all that, because I think that changes how you run your business on the front end as well. It's the same thing with the underwriters and the closers, right? Everybody's got a part to play, but if one hand doesn't know what the other's doing, somehow along the way, we're going to go down the wrong path, right?
100%.
And we're the ones creating the problem, not the path itself. The path was there. It's just how we take them down that path.
Absolutely.
Anyway. Wow. So what else do we have this week? Anything, or what are we going to do?
That is it. And we are going on vacation, right?
We are. Periodically, we do as well. I think we're just going to take off the rest of this month.
Next 2 weeks.
Correct?
Yep, the rest of this month, and we'll be back.
I know you guys are going to miss us, right?
I know. Yeah, it's okay. You can still email us and annoy us. That's fine.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, guys. So we're live here on Tuesday mornings on LinkedIn and YouTube, or wherever you get your podcast. You can find any of our old episodes out there. Go check them out. And our sister show, the BDO show. Paul and I would love to chat with you guys. So reach out to us on our personal LinkedIn pages and connect. Let us know what you'd like us to talk about if there's something new, because boy, we're always open. Sometimes there's weeks when news is just a little late. So if we
correct. And even the dark web's quiet.
Oh, Lordy Lord. Yes. Right. Anyway, so on that note, right, connect with us or go have a great week. We appreciate you. Have a happy holiday season. We'll talk to you later.
See ya.
See ya.